Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Valencia. I'm currently a program manager with Berkeley Global at UC Berkeley Extension, and I am now a planning committee member. I will be your moderator for this session. I have the pleasure of welcoming everyone to Finding Your Authentic Voice from Self-Doubt to Speaking Up, presented by Jamie Wolf and Dr. Chris Bell. I would like to thank our sponsor for this session. The session is sponsored by residents in Berkeley. Thank you, residents in Berkeley, for sponsoring this session. With that, I'm happy to introduce to you our presenters. Jamie Wolf is a renowned innovation cultivator, speaker, and CEO of Creativity Partners. She was the first director of culture at Pixar Animation Studios, where she was recruited to be a force for constructive disruption. With 30 plus years of experience practicing organizational psychology, Jamie has inspired thousands worldwide to embrace innovation as a catalyst for personal and organizational transformation. We also have Dr. Chris Bell. Christopher Bell is a nationally recognized award-winning speaker and scholar focused on helping audiences discover the power of storytelling in building healthy relationships, workplace cultures, and organizations. He is a president at Creativity Partners and the executive in residence in the College of Media, Communication, and Information at the University of Colorado. Chris is 1.3 million views TEDx speaker and a David Letterman award-winning media scholar with a passion for using storytelling and play to unlock creative innovation for organizations. Let's give a warm welcome to Jamie and Chris.
Hi. Wow. That's a lot. Hi. Okay, before we get started, number one, it's a lot of introduction, right? It's a lot of intro. Before we get started, I want to do something real quick. I want to play with you a little bit. Don't overthink this. What I want to do is have you think about what it means to be powerful. Don't overthink it. What does it mean to be powerful? Whatever came to mind first, grab one of these pieces of paper and a crayon. Okay, grab a piece of paper, grab crayon. And I just want you to capture a representation of what came to mind in a 1-minute drawing. Now, here's the thing. This is not about art school. We're not coming around to check them, okay? Don't panic. You go into a first grade classroom, you say, who can draw? Everybody can draw. You go into a room full of adults, who can draw? Everybody's like, nobody, I'm terrible. It doesn't matter. I just want you to capture what you thought of when I said, what does it mean to be powerful? 1 minute. So what does it mean? What does it mean to be powerful? What does it mean? Somebody just holler it out for me. What did you write? What did you draw? What does it mean?
Influence change.
Influence change.
Control, have control.
Have control.
So I wish I was good with names, but there's a quote about leadership that says, leading isn't about those that you lead taking care of you, rather you as a leader taking care of those that you lead. So for me, power is taking care of whoever's giving you the power, or whoever you're overseeing.
Nice. We call that stewardship.
Just kind of piggybacking off of, I think there was a term that came up 45 seconds ago, influence. And so me and my partner, we ended up drawing wildly different pictures. My partner drew a picture, and I was kind of proud to just be able to pinpoint it in a moment. My partner drew someone on stage and then an audience. And then I actually drew one person who was lifting up somebody and at the same time protecting somebody. So my interpretation is power is, between the two illustrations, I think we were able to connect with that key term that actually just came up on stage, which is influence, and it's what you decide to do with it.
Let's see. What? One more?
We have 2 more.
Oh, 2 more here? Okay. Confidence.
Confidence? Confidence is good. All right.
And I think just there's a power in being,
So one more over here.
and just being and being assured that like what you're doing is the right thing.
Right. Being sure what you're doing is the right thing. Cool. So, it's a lot of definitions, right? It's a lot of different ways we think about power.
And so,
You're on.
some of them are positive. Like I love the difference of being on stage and power with. So we're going to talk about all the ways that we think about power. We think about powerful, some of us, as being in service. Some of us have an allergy to power. We think about power as a stigmatized word or something that means wielding our authority over others. So we want you to get personal in a moment, but first I want to just share very quickly a few ground rules. So we are going to be sharing personal stories about our relationship with power. And so we want you to be open-hearted and curious today. And really important that if you hear about a situation in which somebody describes their power, which you will as we share in an upcoming activity, we want you to hold the confidentiality of the story. Not of the ideas, not of the concepts, but certainly anything that's personal and story related. We want to hold that in this room. Does anyone have clarifying questions about what I mean by that? Okay. And then we'd like you to be fully present, which I just enjoyed so many of you saying, oh, crayons, we're going to draw. And sometimes I hear, oh, crayons, I'm not creative. So as Chris said, this is not about drawing well. We want to put that good word outside this room, and this is about just capturing squiggly lines, shapes, stick figures. It's more about creating and feeling. It's not about creating anything good. And the goals for today, we're going to ask you to reflect on your relationship with power, to think about ways that you can maximize your authentic power, and to speak up authentically. And there are times when we don't feel like there are conditions in which we can speak up authentically. And so we're going to share a resource with you that can help you to discern how to speak up, whether to speak up, and overall to not norm for silence. I think we need to unlearn silence, but sometimes we need to, or we might feel tempted to mute who we are because of the situation, and that's very real. So we'll touch on that. Okay, I already went through this. What I'd like you to do is now get personal and think about a time you were powerful. So you captured what you think of when you think of powerful. Think for a moment about a time when you felt powerful. You felt confident. You felt like you had your full voice. And just capture as vividly as you can, where were you, who was in the room. And like I said, you can draw stick figures, you can draw the room, you can draw squiggly lines, whatever you can reflect on and capture onto paper a time that you felt powerful at work. And you're going to have a couple minutes to do so. All right, so you probably have enough there to really recall vividly, even viscerally, what that felt like to feel powerful. So what we'd like you to do is have a quick discussion, and we'd like you to think about these questions. You'll get with either one other person, or if you have an odd number, you can have a group of 3, and go around and tell people about your drawing, one person at a time, going through all 3 questions. So the first question, just have them tell you about the drawing. Now, be brief. This isn't about telling every detail and getting into a long story. You might say something like, this was a time that I delivered a presentation about blah, and that's about all you need to do. One sentence headline. And then you're going to move to the second question. What about this situation helped you feel powerful? Was it the people? Was it that you had a lot of pre-work, that you were prepared? What were the conditions that helped you to feel powerful? And then third, what insights does this reveal about your relationship with power? So in other words, what have you learned as you talk about this powerful situation about your relationship to feeling powerful? All right, you can begin, and you'll have a total of 5 minutes. So it's very quick for those of you who will be with 3, about 2.5 minutes, and we'll let you know when it's time to switch. Okay. All right, we're going to stop you there. Even if you feel like you can go on for another hour. And if we could just hear from a couple people, what about this time when you felt powerful? What was it? What were some of the primary contributing factors? And let's just hear from a couple of you. Just raise your hand. Yes.
Well, people appreciating the work that you've done.
Yeah, that appreciation. And for all of you, appreciation can mean a lot of things, but we typically feel appreciated when we feel fully seen for who we are. We feel valued, and that emboldens us. What else? What are some of the other conditions? Yes. Feeling like I can contribute, right? Like I have a place here. I feel a sense of belonging. Let's hear a couple more. Yes. I love that. So, yeah, that there is a push and an investment and a support, true support of you. And those conditions can make us feel elevated, fortified, powerful. Let's hear one more. I like these. One more. It's so hard to see you. Yes. Okay, sure. You guys are in line. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So feeling like you're leading collaboratively, you're asked to step into a role, but it's not to wield power, I'm paraphrasing, but it's to lead with. I love that, to power with. And one more, yeah.
Just when you're clear on your values in certain situations, and so when you have to speak up for something, that like self-agency gives you that feeling of power.
That's such a perfect segue to what we're talking about next. So that sense of agency. So what we're going to do now can be very personal, and so we're not going to share about this drawing, but you will be reflecting on your own. And so this drawing is a time when you felt powerless, meaning you felt unsupported, you felt unappreciated, you didn't feel valued, you didn't feel seen, maybe you felt invisible, maybe you felt reduced, maybe you felt less than. So capture that time vividly on your paper. And if you can think of a work situation, great. If you can't, you can think of a personal situation and capture that. Again, you will not be asked to share about this. So go ahead and start, and you'll have 2 minutes. Similar to this last conversation about being powerful, just reflect. Maybe you want to write some words or some phrases, or maybe you just want to think about what was it about this situation, different from the powerful situation, that contributed to making you feel less than, reduced, powerful. What was it specifically about this situation? And just take a moment to think. Maybe you want to have a pen and you want to write, and we'll take a minute or two to just reflect. What was it about this situation that made you feel powerless? So let's hear from a few of you about what the contributing factors were that made you feel powerless. So think about what came up as you were reflecting. What are the factors that made you feel powerless? And put your hands up real high so our mic people can see you.
A loss of community and like you're being left behind.
Yeah, that feeling of aloneness, right? Loss of community, so powerful. Yeah. There's a hand back there, a hand over here.
Decisions were being made for me.
Ooh, yes. Decisions were being made for me, which takes away my agency. Absolutely, yes.
Questions are not welcome.
Ooh, questions are not welcome. So even that curiosity that we're encouraging here, it's like, nope, we don't want to hear your questions. Yeah.
To be misrepresented or misunderstood.
Yeah, to be misrepresented or misunderstood is like being unseen. Let's hear a couple more. Yeah.
Feeling like I was receiving external validation that all of the negative thoughts in my head were actually true.
Oof. That made me feel powerless just to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. Feeling like what I was getting externally lined up with what I was feeling inside. Am I paraphrasing? So to me, that is so troubling when we start to internalize what a bad boss thinks about us or what a mean friend thinks about that. And there is this humanness around actually feeling like, oh, is that true? I do suck. And that's what's most troubling. So we need to find ways internally for validation and sometimes externally. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's say, yeah.
When management misuses authority.
When a manager misuses authority, yes. So Chris, and Dr. Bell and I have a TED Talk that just got released, so check it out. Share it with friends. It's called When Good People Become Bad Bosses. And it's all about how bosses can wield power over us, can misuse power. Okay, let's see. There's one more here. So not allowing your opinion to matter. Right. So again, taking your voice away. So how do we find a way to feel that powerful feeling when there are so many conditions at work and in society and even in our families sometimes that can make us feel less than, misunderstood, even invisible? And so what I want us to think about is what from that powerful drawing you can take with you into powerless situations. So for example, I had a situation recently where I felt very powerless, very misunderstood, and I have a drawing that I take with me and I look at before going into this particular meeting where I often feel less than. And it's a picture, a drawing with stick figures of all of my closest friends who love me no matter what I do unconditionally, behind me, touching my shoulder, and the people who I love unconditionally, who I hold, who I elevate, who I support. And it's that kind of bubble of my people that makes me feel powerful in any situation. Getting up here on stage and not feeling nervous, it's because all of those people are with me. I visualize it, I ground myself in that, and I feel my feet on the ground with those people that I'm holding and who are holding me. That's how it works for me. But I want you to think for a moment, and you're going to capture on your powerless drawing. You're going to take either an element from your powerful drawing or some element you can conjure up, like I do with my friends front and back, and think about that as your totem or your archetype or your protector, who in those times of feeling powerless, you can conjure up in your mind's eye. You can have a drawing of it. You might have an object that you bring to those situations that can help you feel fortified. So just take a minute or two on top of your powerless drawing to draw that protector, and it might be from your powerful drawing, it might be an element from there, or it might be something that you're imagining right here and now, and draw that onto the powerless drawing. Go ahead and take a couple minutes. So I'm not going to ask you to share, but I hope you will find ways to refine and refine and refine so that this really feels like something useful you can take with you in every situation, every day, every moment that you need it. And I want to leave you, before we switch gears, to some of the tactics for being powerful in the room. I want to share a really interesting experiment. The fan experiment. So in the fan experiment, the people in the experiment were students, and they divided these people into two. One group of students were asked to draw a time they felt powerful, or to reflect on a time they felt powerful. The other group was asked to draw or reflect on a time that they felt powerless. Now, the interesting thing about the experiment is that there was a fan blowing in their face so hard and strong that they had to hold down their paper to draw, or it would fly away. Over half of the students more than half of the students in the sample size where they were drawing their powerful situation, they just got up and they moved the fan. They felt agency and they got up and moved the fan. Whereas the people in the situation where they were thinking about a powerless situation, they just let it blow. Very few of them, a very low percentage of them, even thought of getting up and having the agency to move the fan in the other direction. And the reason I share this experiment is because our state of mind is hugely significant in how we show up. And so this exercise, which is done with crayons and might feel woo-woo or touchy-feely, is not touchy-feely and woo-woo at all. It has a load of social science associated with it. So how we're thinking about ourselves, just the power of conjuring up this powerful drawing can help you to feel fortified, to feel grounded, to feel powerful. So with that, we're going to switch gears and we're going to practice using our bodies, our voice, our gestures to feel that powerfulness.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about power and the way that power works, right? This is a session about finding your authentic voice and about, how do we find and use power situationally. And the important thing to remember about that is that not all power is created equally. There are a lot of different kinds of power. We think about power in terms of I'm in charge. That came up a lot when I said, tell me about power. Well, you're the one who's in charge. You have the influence. You have positional power does matter. There is something powerful about I'm the president of a thing, or I'm the supervisor. I'm your manager. There's a certain kind of power that comes with that. But that's not the only kind of power that you have. And a lot of times situations can shift if we remember there are lots of other kinds of power that we're bringing to the table. I mean, I might not be the manager, but I might be the person who actually knows stuff. And that's its own kind of power, right? Information is power. Knowing things is power. There's also relationship power. It's not necessarily the power of what you know, but the power of who you know and how you can maneuver. I get this a lot in my house because my daughter, I have a high school senior. She's the mayor of every room she walks into. Immediately. Like, she just knows how to work a room. She knows how to get everybody on her side. She's like glows charismatically and wanders about. And inside of 5 minutes, everybody loves that kid. That's power. Watch someone who's good at that. Someone who's a palm squeezer. Someone who knows how to work a room. That's power. There's power in expertise. I know how to do a thing and you don't. That's power. Again, I might not be in charge, but if I'm the person who can do the thing, well, now we got a game, don't we? That's its own kind of power. There's also the power that comes from within. There's personal power. There's internal power. Someone mentioned, someone's validating externally all those things that I felt terrible about myself. That works in the other direction too. Because if I walk in and I feel really great about myself, other people pick up on that too. And that's its own kind of power. I say this all the time to people. People think it's a joke, but it's only like 60% facetious. When I tell people, you don't have to like me. I like me enough for both of us. That's real. There's something real about that, about walking into a situation and having that personal power, owning your own space. So just because you don't have a title in a situation doesn't mean you have no power. If you walk away with nothing else today, keep that in mind, right? There's lots of different ways to have power. We all have some kind of power. Okay? So, I'm going to teach you some very simple tricks. We've been talking really philosophically about power and about how to, use your voice and blah, blah, blah. Today I want to teach you so I'm skipping all this because I want to teach you mechanics. Because this that I'm doing right now, this is learned behavior. I can do this because I practiced. And there are things that you can do to practice because this is learned behavior. It means, number one, I can teach it to you, and number two, you can get better at it. So we're going to practice some stuff right now. I'm going to teach you how to own your space. Because if you want to find your authentic voice, when it's your turn to speak, being able to do that with confidence matters. Again, I tell my kid this all the time. It is not the smartest person in the room whose ideas get used. I really hope you've learned that by this point in your life. It's not the smartest person in the room whose ideas get used. It's the person who can confidently and articulately make what's going on in their head come out of their mouth. That's whose ideas get used. So, if you want to find your authentic voice, you have to be prepared to use it when your moment comes. So let's practice this. Let's talk a little bit. I'm going to teach you 6 things that are going to make you more effective today, right now, immediately. Thing number 1 is this. We, and by we, I mean Americans as a culture, us people sitting in this room, generally speaking, have terrible posture. Just as a culture. If you want to be better speaking in front of people, the first thing you can do is fix your posture. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to take your shoulders, you're going to roll them slightly backwards, and when you do that immediately, it's going to tense up the middle of your back, and it's going to straighten your spine. It's literally just that easy. We're a hunch culture. Roll your shoulders back. What that's going to do is it's going to open up these things that live inside of here called your lungs. And when your lungs are opened up, you get more projection. Here's the other thing you're going to do. Take your hand and put it like this. Not like this. This is jazz hands. Put it like this. Take the point of your thumb in the center of your chest. There is a hollow. If you're wearing a bra, you're going to have to go under it. Take your thumb, put it in that hollow in the center of your chest. Put your hand flat on your body, like this. Roll your shoulders back so you got good posture. Did you feel that tighten up? Push slightly with the fat, meaty part right by your pinky. If you push too hard, we'll know because you're going to fall on the ground. Push ever so slightly with that. Feel that? That thing right there, that's a muscle called your diaphragm. Here's what's going to happen. I want you to say something out loud, and it doesn't matter what you say. I just want you to hold your hand in this spot and just say a couple of words out loud. You should feel a slight rumble in your hand as your voice echoes inside your body. Go. Say whatever you want. Feel that? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to say the exact same thing, except in the middle of it, you're going to push ever so slightly with your hand. Okay? Everybody ready? Go. Did you feel yourself get a little bit louder there? You know why? Because that muscle controls that. Singers, people who play wind instruments, people who've done theater, they learn to control this automatically. And after a while, it becomes second nature. Most people don't. Most people, when they speak, they try to speak from here. If you speak from here, you'll never carry your voice loud enough to matter. You got to speak from here. And the best thing is to combine these two things. You really want to practice, go home, take your heels, put them on the wall. Take your shoulders, roll them back till your shoulders are touching the wall. Put your hand right here, and when you're speaking, push. And then take your hand away and see if you can make your muscles do that without it. And if you can make your muscles do that without it, welcome to projection. It's literally just that easy. It's all body mechanics. Okay? So, thing number one, fix your posture. You can project. Okay? Thing number two to own your space, eye contact. We are a low eye contact culture, in a culture that values eye contact. It's a weird paradox that we have going on, but it's true. And so, here's some tricks that you can use when we're talking about eye contact. Number one is this. Every time I come into a room, whether it's me and 2 people, it's me and 10 people, it's me and 100 people, here's what I do. I build a team. First thing I do is I build a team. What's a team? A team are people who like me and like what I'm saying. And so I start talking and I look around and I go, oh, you get to be on my team. And you get to be on my team, and you get to be on my team, and you get to be on my team. And now I have 4 people on my team. So when I talk, I'm not talking to all of y'all, I'm just talking to you. And then I move over here, I'm talking to you. And I move over here, I'm talking to you. And I move over here, I'm talking to you. 4 people, and everybody else thinks, oh, he's varying his eye contact around the room. No, I just got 4 people who like me. That's enough. Now, sometimes you go into a room, and nobody wants to be on your team. That's okay. You know who always wants to be on your team? Inanimate objects. Water bottle on my team, water bottle on my team, water bottle on my team, water bottle on my team. And it still works. Sometimes you go into a room and people are way too close to you. Guess what? You can still work it. Here's how. If you were to draw a line from the top of one ear to the top of another ear, and you were to take a line right down the center of your face, you would get a point right here in the center of your forehead. And if you look at that, unless you are like 1 foot away from someone, they cannot tell you are not looking them in the eye. I'm doing it right now to every single one of you. That's how you easy fake eye contact, right? Now, the easiest thing to do is to just make regular eye contact. Just look people in the eyes as you're talking to them. But for lots of cultural reasons, or, don't even get me started on gender reasons, or there are all kinds of reasons why we don't look each other in the eye, right? So that's okay. There are ways around that. If you are going to make eye contact with people, as I recommend that you do, please understand that there is a fine line between eye contact and the piercing stare of a psychopath. So therefore, you want to be sure that you are making what we call casual eye contact. 1 second, casual. 2 seconds, I'm talking to you, and you know I'm talking to you. 3 seconds, psycho. So you want to make sure you're making appropriate eye contact, right? But you do want to make eye contact because it shows people you mean business. And like it or not, that's the kind of culture we live in. The kind of culture where looking someone in the eye means business. So it's a thing you can practice. Thing number 3, what we call vocalics. Vocalics is a really fancy speech word. It just means the stuff that's coming out of your mouth that isn't words. What do I mean by that? I mean your rate of speech. For example, we're a very fast-talking culture. If you want to be taken more seriously, more powerfully, slow down. Number 2, about vocalics, are all of the things that are happening in between the words that you are trying to say. You will notice my vocalics fairly clean. I do not I do not I do not like. Does anybody know why? I'm doing a thing right now that if I did it in my regular life, it would bother you all day, every day. We couldn't be friends if I was doing this all the time. Does anybody know what it is in my vocalics? If I was just talking to you, yes. What do you think? If I was just talking to you, and every 5th word, I just stopped talking, you would be like, the hell is wrong with you? If this was the way that I spoke all the time, that would irritate you. I'm doing something on purpose, and it's this. I don't say or like because I am consciously not saying or like because I grew up in the same place you did, where I was taught to say like every other word. And I've learned over the course of my life that the more you say like in one sentence, the less people want to listen to you. So I make a conscious effort not to do it. And how do I stop it? I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't throw up my hands and scream. When I feel one coming, I just stop. And you think I do it on purpose. You think I'm well considered, that I'm practiced, that I'm good at saying words in front of people. And in my head, all I'm thinking is, don't say like, don't say like, don't say like, don't say like. That's how it works. I'm going to give you an opportunity to practice. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn to, if you were partners the whole time with this person, turn over here and be partners with this person. Let's vary it up. Just grab yourself a partner. And I want you to just tell that person something today that's bringing you joy. Just something today that's making you happy. Something today that is making you feel better about the world. Now, other person, other partner, you have a job. Your job is this. If that person says like or I just want you to go like this. Okay? That's all you're going to do. Just going to go like this. Everybody ready? You're going to consciously try not to do it. We're going to see what happens. Go. Cool, cool. Did anybody try pausing? Did you try pausing? Did you try taking a breath so that you don't do it? Cool. Good job, everybody. Good job, good job. Okay, so it's another thing you can practice, right? You can practice it, you can get better at it. Here's our next thing. Here's our next thing. I really believe that one thing as a culture that we don't do enough of is we don't make enough use of what we call proxemics. Proxemics is distance. It's how close or far away you are from somebody. Now, when I'm on stage, I can manage proxemics really well, right? Because I come over here and now I'm talking to you, and I come over here and now I'm talking to you. And sometimes I come over here and I'm by you, but I'm talking to you. And then sometimes I come over here and I'm by you, but I'm talking to you. I'm not just wandering back and forth up here. I'm doing things on purpose. If I want you to be with me and understand a thing, I come up here to the front of the stage. And then when I want to give you space to process that, I move backwards. Proxemics matters. If you really want to control a space in a room, use the space to your advantage. Use the space to your advantage. It's classroom management 101. If I have two students who are talking, I don't have to go, shut up. All I have to do is just walk over here. And then they stop because I'm right here. It's very, very simple, okay? We also are a hand-talking culture. And I can't say anything about it because I am a hand talker. But you will notice I am also doing a thing that I do not do in my regular life, which is this. I am practicing what I lovingly call the dying art of T-Rex arms. And here's how it works. If you were to take a hook and put it right here on the inside of your elbow and tie a string to it and pull it really tight and take it around your back and tie it to a hook on this one and pull it really tight, that'll give you little T-Rex arms, right? When I present, when I talk in front of people, when I'm in a meeting, when I'm in charge of a thing, my elbows never leave my side. My gestures stay inside the walls of my body. You stay from here to here. That keeps you from doing this, because this is a distraction. I don't want you looking over here. I want you here. So I keep you here by keeping my arms in here. And it's a really simple technique. Very easy. Again, I think you can practice. Final two things. Number one, fix your face. Fix your face. This is a thing I say, again, to my kid all the time. Fix your face. We as a culture have very little control over what's happening from here to here. Generally speaking, we've made up all kinds of unpleasant terms for what's happening from here to here. If you really want people to gravitate towards you, if you really want to feel your power in a situation, if you really want to feel like you're in control, get in control. And control starts with you. Okay? You'd be surprised how far a smile can go. You'd be surprised. People tell you all the time, oh, no one should say you should smile more. And they shouldn't, but at the same time, we should all smile more as humans. Because it works. Because it's rhetorically powerful. There's something about combining a smile and eye contact that lets someone know you're serious. A smile doesn't have to mean happy. There's all kinds of ways you can use your face to your advantage. So think about it tactically in terms of owning your space. And the last thing is this. I've been practicing dynamic control this entire time. That is, I have a particular kind of power right now, and that power, number one, is a microphone, but number two is knowledge. You came here to get something, and I'm giving it to you, and guess what? I'm giving it to you one step at a time when I want you to have it. If I didn't want you to have it, I would take it away. And when I'm ready for you to get it, I put it back. I don't just put my entire slide up here, because if I put the entire slide up here, you know what your first instinct is to do? Stop listening to me and read it. I don't want you to do that. I want the power in the situation. So I control it. I control the flow of information. Dynamic control. Every single one of these things is a thing you can learn today, you can practice today, you can get better at today. Want to find your authentic voice? Be ready for the moment when it comes around. Okay? Cool. I'm going to pass back to you, Jamie.
We are ready for a Q&A. So any questions that you have? Yes.
Yes. Coming around, yeah, mics are coming around. We got a few minutes. We'll answer some questions.
So particularly regarding the ums, likes, and other space fillers, I feel like a lot of times on top of the American norm to do that, for some marginalized communities, it's a tool to fill the space so that you're not cut off by someone in a power dynamic. So for example, if you're presenting to someone in a privileged position or a manager, they'll jump in while you're presenting to cut you off. So are there any strategies to help not just pause, because that will be an opportunity to be cut off, but rather somehow still have that opportunity to not be cut off. And then also for internal processors, sometimes they do use sounds to fill the gap. So they need a second to think. They'll say they'll say like, or whatever habit they have, right? So I was just thinking of those. That was my immediate reaction.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Jamie, because Jamie and I have a slightly differing answers to this, I'm sure. I'm gonna let you go. I'll actually let you go first. I'll let you go first.
Thanks a lot. That is such a great point, and we talk about this all the time because there's a lot of research now that shows that there's a researcher that wrote a book called Likeable Badass. Has anyone heard of that? So Likeable Badass, there's some research that shows that for women, different from men, when you say like and it makes you more relatable, it makes you more human, and that it's a kind of a myth that using and like isn't good for some people. Because, for example, for a woman who holds power, they're breaking stereotype. And when they bring their power down by saying like and I'm speaking now like you, then I have more connection with you, and therefore I have more influence with you. So there's a lot of interesting research about this. So what we talk about when we say, don't do this and don't do that, is to have a choice. Don't go on autopilot and on default. Think about what is in your toolbox. Think about your audience. And if you already have high competence, maybe if you're a woman, you want to bring it down. There's a lot of nuance to this, so don't quote me out of context. But if you know that you're saying like a lot, but you're not aware of it, that's different than if you are aware of it and you're using it because you want to. That's how you feel like you. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Does that help a little bit? Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, quick summary.
I think we heard the gist of it. You can.
Yeah. So a lot of times the voices get silenced, and their ideas might bring diversity, might bring a better solution, and they never happen because they get cut off by privileged groups and majority groups in the meetings, and so that helps a lot. Thank you.
And then the second part of your question I want to address too, and then hear what Dr. Bell has to say. But when somebody interrupts you, I was in a group of executives that were constantly, when I paused, they would just swoop in. And I got really good at saying, excuse me, I want to finish what I have to say. Excuse me, you're interrupting me.
It's literally what I was about to say. It's exactly the same. Exactly what I was going to say. There's so much power in the phrase, thanks, but I wasn't finished. There's so much power in that phrase. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be aggressive about it. You can literally just say, thank you, but I wasn't finished. It's a thing we don't do, and it's one of those things that's kind of like carrying a big stick. You only have to use the big stick once. Say that to somebody in a conversation, thanks, but I wasn't finished, and watch you never get interrupted again.
Unless you're in politics. Okay,
unless you're in politics.
Back there.
Unless you're in politics.
Thank you very much. This has been very interesting. I'm very curious about what you have to say in regards to how these principles may continue or may be adjusted, given that much of what we do in our work, especially with students, occurs over Zoom. So I wonder if that would shift any of the principles that you've discussed, or if there's additional tips that you may have.
A little.
I really appreciate that. Thanks.
A little. We all spend way too much time on Zoom right now, right? And I think I'm with you. I don't think that's going to get less. I think this is just the way that things are now. That said, what I will say is there are a few things that you could do. Number one, when I'm in Zoom meetings, I like to set parameters, especially if I'm in charge. I like to set the parameters up at the beginning. There's a hand raise feature on there for a reason. Zoom is the worst for jumping all over people and not letting people finish what they have to say. I'm very much of the mindset that Zoom meetings should be mic off, and people should be coming in with their mics when it's their turn to speak. And using the features available on Zoom really helps in that regard. I also think that people tend to be a little more casual in Zoom meetings for some reason, probably because they're wearing a dress shirt and pajama pants. So they tend to be a little more casual, and because they're a little more casual, there's a little better free flow to conversations sometimes that I think is helpful. It breaks down some of those barriers in some of those ways that make you more relatable. That said, did you go ahead? Did you have a thing?
I was just going to say we probably have time for one more question.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I feel like a lot of us in this room code switch in the workplace because we're not represented at work in our identities, whatever that might be. And so how do we maintain authenticity in a room of people that may not exactly be like us?
Do you have 2 more hours?
I was trying to find something pithy to say, but the reality is, it is what we do. It's what we do. It's what I'm doing right now. How I'm speaking to you right now is not how I'm going to be speaking to my wife when I call her when I'm done with this, or my family when I hang out with them this weekend, or my friends, or whatever. We all engage in code switching, particularly those of us who come from marginalized communities, like you said. One of the things that I have found is I try to bring my whole self to whatever I'm doing. I make my references, Jamie can tell you that I make my references. Every other thing that comes out of my mouth came out of a 90s movie, because that's my frame of reference, and that's who I am, and that's what I do. I use the slang that I talk with a lot of the times, and people go, what does that mean? And then it's an opportunity for them to learn some stuff. I try to be as much of me as I can in every situation. I understand that can be difficult for some people, that it's a journey. We are all navigating that. What I would offer to you is safety matters. Safety matters. I would tend to be a safety first kind of person. So do what you need to do to protect yourself, and then beyond that, bring as much of yourself as you can to the table.
So, Luis, I think it's over to you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for hanging out with us.